Hi, I'm Joel Searles, and I'm with military.com.
Hi,
Hi,
Joel.
Joel.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah, doing well. Thanks. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for asking. Um, got finished talking with Jack and Jared here just about 30 minutes ago. Gave me some good
Nice.
insights. Enjoyed watching the Dark Wolf screener that your team sent over. Fine work as always from you gentlemen.
Thank
Um,
you.
Thank you.
you're welcome. And you know, you've done this now twice, and you'll be doing it again, Chris, with the Terminalist season 2. What is the biggest thing you've learned from playing James Reese?
Mm.
Wow, what a great question.
God, that's awesome.
Okay, so the biggest thing I've learned through this process, because it's playing James Reese, but it's also executive producing a television show. Um,
Mm,
I'd been acting for 20 plus years. So I think I've come to realize just what it takes to create a television
Mhm.
show or to produce, a movie. There's just this is like a combination of the two. We call it Cinevision. I think I took for granted the amount of work that had been put in before I ever showed up when I'm an actor. For a long time, I just would show up, I'd stand on the mark and I'd say, "All right, is everyone ready to get to work?" And I was like, "Okay, dude, we've been working for 2 years to just get you there." So I think I've gained a deeper appreciation, more gratitude for everything that everyone has ever done to get me to that point as an actor. And then I think the biggest thing I've learned is the difference between micro and macro management.
Mm.
I think I had this impulse to try to micromanage things, and I'm learning that I might be a little bit better looking at the overall picture and then trusting the people that are in charge to make the adjustments that I require to be made. And so I can have a sort of 50,000 foot view as a producer that I can keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on and still work on the minutia in the very micro control of my own character as James Reese. So I'm doing the work as the actor, but as a producer, I'm allowing people to shine and do their thing. And I realize that they do their best work when I'm not sitting over their ear telling them exactly what to do. You're like, I wish you would do it more.
thoughts on that, David? No, no, no.
Oh no, I mean, I think you're being very modest, Chris. The one thing I'll add to it is I think we have learned that team television works, and I think what Chris is talking about is for both of us because I get the same note from the studio, but that empowering people who are so invested in these characters, in this world, in the authenticity of these shows, empowering them to bring everything they've got every day. That's what makes the show special. It's not my show. It's not Chris's show. It's not Jack's show. It's our show. It is truly a team ethos,
Yeah,
a brotherhood in making these. And I think that's what you feel when you watch them.
that's right.
Definitely.
And I can say this, especially talking to you, a military outlet. There have been a lot of shows made about, soldiers in combat or Navy SEALs even, and they always have tech advisors, and those tech advisors have the experience. But I don't think there's been anyone who's valued the input of our tech advisors as much as we do.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of times tech advisors will tell somebody something, tell a director something. That's now he'd hold the gun and they go, "All right, let me direct the movie." And then they
yeah,
they go back to do
Yeah.
exactly what I learned watching combat and film and television. And you
yeah,
get some like sort of Hollywood hot sauce bullshit version of the real thing. And so there's a reason we have so many people that are veterans, former Spec Ops guys that come up to us and say, "You know what? The way that you entered that building, that was so authentic. The way you punched around that corner, or the way you did like a tactical reload in that moment, that was great. The way the camaraderie between you guys, just actually saying some funny things in the moments of high pressure, that's very real. That all comes from,
Yeah.
our not, and they're not tech advisors, they're producers and writers.
executive producer.
Yeah. So
Yep.
Right.
five of
Very
seven
much.
episodes that we have are written or co-written by veterans, and so we value their input so much, I think more than anyone ever has, and we're seeing the results of that, which is people look at this and it's different. It's set apart from anything else in this genre.
Will they resonate with the stories?
Mm,
That's right.
for sure.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Can you share one or two distinctly memorable interactions you've had with service members or veterans since the Terminal List came out?
Oh
Oh
my
man.
gosh.
I mean, one was last night.
Yeah.
But the Best Defense Foundation bringing military veterans from World War II to the premiere,
Wow.
one of whom was 102 years old.
Yeah.
Um, having the photos taken with those gentlemen, um, I think for us, that the notion of the greatest generation resonates
Yeah.
even more so today when we're kind of in this world of social media that is dividing us. Um, Men who stood up for their country, who stood up for freedom, who really united the world. Those are living testaments to the things we aspire to. So yeah, last night was special.
Thank you. I 102-year-old World War II vet is definitely special.
Yeah.
That's right.
Chris, have you have any interactions where veterans have come up and spoke with you about anything that
Yeah,
sticks out?
I countless interactions. I've got a really actually I stole a prop from the first season, which was an American a wooden American flag that doubles as a challenge coin
Mm.
holder. And so you put like each of the stripes has a little row and you can put challenge coins in it.
Yeah.
And that my flag is completely covered in challenge coins. I can't tell you the number of people that have come up to me and said, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And they have something in their hand and I'm like, "I think I know what this is." And they give me their coin and they share that with me and they share their story and they tell me where they're from, what they've done, and how this show has had an impact on them, or you know, giving me thanks for, which is wild because of course, if anyone in that interaction deserves gratitude, it's the person handing me a challenge coin who put their butt on the line, defending my freedom. And so, and just humbly they'll say, "Wow, thank you so much for the show. I really love it. Thank you for supporting veterans." And yeah, numerous occasions. We had a few last night that were really special. I mean, it happens a lot, and it's truly makes me so incredibly proud.
Thank you. I think we're at the end of our time. It's been great speaking with you, Chris and David. Thank you for your
Thank
thoughts
you.
and your insights. Yes, and I'm a lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps Reserve, and
Oh,
Wow.
connected with
amazing.
Jared and Ray. So yeah, they've offered some good insights as well. And Ray's a good guy, and Jared seems to be as well. We haven't met in person, so you've got some
Yes,
great
sir.
folks working with you.
Don't let him fool you.
Yeah, they're actors. They're totally
Yeah, they're
actors.
actors. Yeah, no, he cannot be
Yeah,
trusted.
yeah.
Um, eh,
That's
I
awesome.
doubt
Well,
that.
thank you for your service.
yeah, thank you. And
You're welcome.
thank
You're
you
welcome,
for this.
Chris. Hi, I'm Joel Searles, and I'm with military.com.
Joel, how's it
Joel,
Hey guys,
going? Good to
how
see
goes
you.
it?
good to see you too.
We were
How was your
hoping we could
weekend?
get Chris in here as well, but it's a crazy schedule. Can you
I
hear us?
understand. I appreciate you
Yeah.
trying, Jared. It's good to see you, and vi- at
Yeah,
least
yeah.
virtually, live virtually.
Yeah.
Likewise. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching the Dark Wolf screeners they've shared. Really enjoyed what I've seen so far. I like the storyline you've developed for Ben Edwards in the prequel. I got to see you in there as well, Jared. You're doing great.
And thank
Um,
you. More
but
boozer. Everybody wants more boozer.
yeah,
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, this whole thing was really just a setup for a boozer spin-off. Don't tell Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah,
Don't let anybody know, but that's
no
really,
secret.
yeah. Maybe don't write that, but but it's really that's what it's all set up for. Prime.
backdoor pilot boozer. I'm
Right.
telling you,
Yeah.
that people who are beer drinkers will definitely jump on that one for sure.
Yeah, that is correct. The untold story. Yeah.
I like it. I can see it now on the big lights above the
Mhm.
marquee. I can see it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
and me both, Joel. You and me both.
Nice. Well done.
Um, on a serious note, what seeing as how the original Terminalist ended with Ben Edwards' character, being a traitor, what went into the behind the choice of making a series about him? Because that's a bold choice.
Yeah. And I'll kick it off and then turn it over to Jared here. But really, the character that you saw in the Terminal List in that first season was so much more nuanced, had so much more depth than the character that I created in the book, and that's all due to Taylor Kitsch's portrayal of that character of Ben Edwards. And also that which made the betrayal at the end then feel that much more personal and visceral to the audience. And what I didn't really explore in the book at all was how he got to that place, how this person that had served next to James Reese in the SEAL teams, how it got to that place where he could betray him. And so that was something that we thought would be interesting to explore. Audience members thought the same. The executive team at Amazon and MRC thought the same. So we dove in and had complete creative freedom because it's not tied to anything in the book, but it was so interesting that you know how it ends up. And so that part is a little different than maybe some other prequel type of series because you know how it ends up, but you don't know how he got there. And once again, that's all due to Taylor's portrayal.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, spoken perfectly, you know how it ends up, but we don't know how he got there. You know, audience doesn't know how he got there. And so you have the turn at the end of the first season and being able to now go and earn the turn, you know, go and see like what took him to that point, you know, and as you've seen, Joel, like we see the light wolf in this season of Dark Wolf. You know, you see that Ben is he's a good-hearted guy, you know, he's got a good soul, and you know, but like everybody, he has the things that he's struggling with, you know, and through this season, we're able to show, you know, that like even though before I joined the teams, I always thought that SEALs were Supermen, you know, like they were just untouchable. And we'll still tell everybody they are, of course, you know,
Don't write
but
that.
yeah, don't yeah, cut that out. But you get to see just it the hits that he's taken physically and mentally and those little, as Taylor puts it, kind of the cracks, you know, and being able to see that through this season and hopefully all goes well and we get another couple seasons to really follow his storyline to see that turn, you know, from the first season and like what happened, what went wrong, like he's such a good dude, like how did he immerse into the dark side and make that decision that he made.
I love that. Earn the turn. That's a good one. I use that. That's a good one.
Yeah. Thank
We
you.
use it in skiing. Also, you go in working your way, go instead of taking a lift up to the top, you put on skins and you work your way out because you earn the turns on the
That's
way down
cool.
instead of jumping on the lift and going up. So
Yeah, earn the turn.
backcountry.
Nice. I can see that. You know, I want to maintain the privacy for when the show comes out later this month. You know, but I'm very much impressed with the emotional beats that are kind of leading up to, you know, what eventually takes place in the Terminalist. And I think you've brought both of you gentlemen have brought that humanity side out because I definitely saw that, which was something you don't normally see with special ops movies too often or shows. The Superman, you know, kind of like impenetrable. You know, we saw some of that in Terminalist, but you know, you're getting to see even more of it in Dark Wolf. To shift gears a little bit here, and you may have been behind this, Jack. I'm sure Jared was a part of this. What went into you realizing Chris was the right person to play James Reese?
Yeah, so that, I mean, that comes back to being a child of the 80s for me, really, and knowing that I wanted to write thrillers after my time in the military, growing up, reading all these thrillers by the masters, by Tom Clancy and Nelson DeMille and A.J. Quinnell and J.C. Pollock and Mark Olden and Clive Cussler and Stephen Hunter and all these guys that became my real professors in the art of storytelling. And also it's the influence of popular culture and watching all these TV shows growing up and watching all those movies growing up and being a student essentially of films, television, and thrillers from the fan perspective. So when I sat down to write the Terminal List with my last year and a half or so in the military in December of 2014, after that first sentence, it was very natural for me to choose the person who was going to play this character in a future New York Times best-selling novel that I was just one sentence into. And I'd seen Parks and Rec, and I'd just seen Joe Dark 30 and seen the transformation that Chris Pratt takes from Andy Dwyer
Yeah.
into a SEAL operator in Zero Dark 30. And I thought that's someone who needs to do a role like this, like James Reed, like the ones I'm that's one sentence into right now. And I didn't want someone who had already done those kind of roles before. And I thought of Tom Hanks in the 80s doing all comedies, and then in the early 90s taking a risk with Philadelphia, and then really being able to do anything he wanted from then on. And I thought Chris Pratt's that character. Chris Pratt will portray James Reese. And then I thought, you know what? I'm choosing my main character. I should probably choose my director as well, Antoine Fuqua. I loved Training Day and Cheers to the Sun and Shooter. And I thought, oh, he can do action and he can do this. He'd be the perfect director for this. And now we're all dear friends and we're all working on this project together.
This man is clearly a sniper because he called his shots from the beginning and nailed it. He stuck
Well,
it.
I'll
Yeah.
do to you. We would not be here if you had not handed Chris Pratt that book back in 2017 before it even hit shelves. And that's the reason that we have a first season. We're filming a second season now, and we have the Dark Wolf spinoff that's coming out on August 27th. And without Jared Shaw, none of that would exist.
Well, thank you. And that can't be said without the front part of that with Jack and I serving together. Although he was a higher ranking officer, I was an enlisted guy. Our paths did not cross much at all. Would see each other every now and then in passing, but I hit the 10 and a half year mark in my career, decided it's time for me to go a different route, kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do. And one day I'm, probably a month or so from separating from the military, and I hear somebody call my name outside walking, hear somebody call my name, hey, Shaw, and right away, having been in a lot of trouble in the military, and I'll touch on that in a second. You get called out like that. I'm like, oh no, what did I do? What did and I turn around and Jack is there and he said, hey man, I hear you're getting out, and I said, yes, sir. And he said, what's your plan? I'm like, kind of ran through it with him, wanted to do some stuff in Texas, shooting school, teaching people to shoot and all. And he's like, all right, well, come into my office, let's sit down, let's talk. Like I want to connect you with some people that were in the teams that are now in Texas. They're doing exactly what you want to do. Let me connect you, and he took me under his wing and connected with me with people, kind of mentored me, helped me when he didn't really know me from the next guy, and the military is a fast moving machine where you're getting out and there was not a single other person, and no hit on anybody else, but there wasn't a single other person in my chain of command that took me aside. Even those that knew me took me aside and did what he did when he didn't really know me, and so fast forward to 4 or 5 years later,
Yeah.
and I get a call from a mutual buddy that says, hey, you remember Jack Carr? And thinking about it, like, yeah, I do. And he said, he wrote a book. I think you should read it. And my first thought was like, yeah, another SEAL writing a book. I don't know. It said it's fiction, but you need to read this book. And so he reconnected Jack and I, and we talked, and he sent the book. I read it, and like, and I asked him, I'm like, do you mind if I give this to a buddy of mine? He's like, well, who's that buddy? And it goes back to him being a sniper and calling his shots, happened to be Chris Pratt. And, when we're on the phone, he's like, you're kidding me. And I'm like, dude, you were a good dude to me. You took care of me. Like, can I do that? He's like, 100%. And here we sit now, doing an interview on the second season that we've shot and filming the third. And here we are.
Wild.
Yeah.
Amazing. How did
Really
you
is.
come to know Chris?
When I was an instructor, first phase buds instructor, Chris had got signed on for a role in Zero Dark 30. And so they had asked, is there any, him and Joel Edgerton were going to come down to Coronado where we train. And they, asked if any instructors wanted to help the guys train. And I grew up acting, loved it, and so I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. It's a Saturday. I don't care. I'll come in. I want to do it, help out. And CP and I just hit it off. We're both kind of country boys and talked about hunting and fishing. And, I think the next weekend we're catching lobsters together. He came back down to Coronado, and we may or may not have illegally got on base and
Allegedly.
allegedly, yes,
Yeah.
and went and caught some lobsters and some places we weren't supposed to be,
Yeah,
but yeah.
they grow pretty big under the near the carriers and the sub pens, so you're not allowed to dive near.
And we would never do that ever.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, so that
I've heard.
people tell us
Oh,
there's big
right.
lobsters there,
Yeah.
you know.
I believe you. I've heard that too.
Allegedly.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. And
it's
so, yeah,
it's
we hit it off and became buddies and have stayed, I mean, very close buddies since that first interaction.
that's great. You guys connected immediately, and just continued. One of those things that's meant to happen. It sounds like.
Exactly right.
So, we've got a few more minutes here. Would you guys be able to share anything about the second season of Terminal List?
Ooh,
Just
let's see. Other than we're filming right now,
okay.
it's we filmed in some in Africa, up in Toronto. We have a couple more locations that we're gonna hit here over the next couple months as we finish up filming and then move into post production. And all I can say is that it's what I've seen so far, and I've got to visit the set on multiple occasions. It looks stunning, and the goal is always to make the next show better than the last one. Take those lessons that we learned in the past, apply them to the present and future. And that's what we did in the SEAL teams. The goal was always to be a better operator and a leader today than we were yesterday. And same thing with the books. I want the next book to be better than the one that I just finished. That is always the
Right.
goal, always to improve and always get better at our craft, always learn. Students, I try to approach everything as from the student perspective. And looking at what we have so far of True Believer, it's yeah, it's gonna you never know until you get to the edits, right? You
Yeah.
never know until you get to the edits. But with what I've seen so far, it's we're exceeding our own expectations. It's looking really good.
It's big. It's big. It's going to be a banger.
There we go.
Awesome. I know a lot of people at military.com are looking forward to it. On a closing point, Jack, from your books and series, what would you like the non-Navy SEAL military community and the general public to understand about SEALs?
You know, I don't really approach it from that perspective. For me, it's all about telling a story because I have people that are trusting me with time. They're never going to get back. They're going to invest that time reading these novels or listening to them now on the audiobooks, and then with us watching the show. They're going to invest 8 hours of their life in this thing. Maybe they're going to include their family in that. So for me, it's always about the story. It never starts with what lesson do I want to impart or anything along those lines. It's always about the story, and I feel that if I honor the story, then I am respecting that reader, that listener, that viewer who's spending time with me that they're never ever going to get back. So I never start with it. What are the people going to learn? People are going to take their have their own past experiences that they're going to then take with them into the pages or onto the screen or through listening, and they're going to have their own experience. So whatever they take from it is what they take from it. But I never start that way. It all has to be about that story.
Understood. Understood. Any closing thoughts, Jared?
Not really a thought, but I've saved this for you, being a military fellow yourself, and
Yes.
just being military.com. I was able to bring to the premiere my master chief from when I was in the SEAL teams to the premiere. And why
Wow.
that is important is that Master Chief Harold Underdown, saved my career not once, but twice. And it's a very long story, but he took a risk on me. I got kicked out of Iraq first time I was there. He brought me back. I got sent to the fleet. He brought me back. I got in trouble again months later, and he stuck his neck on the line again to keep me in. And then we lost track of each other, and we reconnected, and I was able to bring him here for the premiere, when he took a risk on a fellow that he shouldn't have 12, 13 years ago, 14 years ago. And for him to be able to just kind of see okay, I took a risk on this fella and
Yeah.
getting a lot of trouble, and was able to bring him to the premiere, take a picture with him on the red carpet, because my whole life would have been different. And so I wanted to share that with you. I know you'll get it,
Yes.
you'll understand it, and I would love for that to be kind of put out there. That's a very big one.
I'll add it to the article. I can't say.
Please do.
I'll let my editor know that it'd be great to keep that in there. Sometimes they take stuff out of my articles just to condense them,
Yeah,
but I'll
please
make
do.
a special note that we keep that. How do you spell his last name?
Underdown. I'll text it to you too.
Underdown.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. I think we're at time. So, nonetheless, it's been great reconnecting with you. Thanks for making time for me and get me into the schedule. And thanks for the invite to the premiere. I really wish I could have come. I had a commitment yesterday, and if I backed out of it, I wouldn't be too much of a man. So,
Understood. You'll
but
be at the next one.
I'd love to be.